Even though, in our modern times, you would surely be in great difficulty to find a person who has not heard of the historic figure of Jesus Christ, there are actually very few who fully understand and are familiar with the true teachings of Yeshua. That is partially because a very significant part of his teachings never made it into the Bible. But we can find some of it in the Nag Hammadi library. Also known as the Gnostic Gospels, they are 13 leather-bound papyrus codices, buried in a sealed jar, discovered near the Upper Egyptian town of Nag Hammadi in 1945. By the time of Emperor Constantine's deathbed conversion, when Christianity became an officially approved religion in the 4th century, Christian bishops, previously victimized by the police, now commanded them. Possession of books denounced as heretical was made a criminal offense. Copies of such books were burned and destroyed. But in Upper Egypt, someone, possibly a monk, from a nearby monastery of St. Pachomius, took the banned books and hid them from destruction in the jar, where they remained buried for almost 1,600 years. The Nag Hammadi texts are early Christian writings, which allow us to see the original Christianity before it was affected by Rome. Here are some of the statements which Yeshua made in these texts. From the Gospel of Thomas: "Whoever finds the meaning of these words will not taste death. The kingdom is inside you and outside you. When you come to know yourselves, then you will be known, and you will realize that you are the children of the living Father. The dead are not alive, and the living will not die." Congratulations to the one who came into being before coming into being. If the flesh came into being because of the Spirit, it is a wonder. But if the Spirit came into being because of the body, it is a wonder of wonders. Damn the flesh, that depends on the soul. Damn the soul, that depends on the flesh. Those who know all, but are lacking in themselves, are utterly lacking. Those who have found themselves, of them, the world is not worthy. From this we see that the true interest of Yeshua is the nature of reality, the world, and the self. The ascension into God. Something which is universal and the center of all religions. To know yourself is to understand the nature of the living one. Not the body, not the mind, but him, who is the one having the experience of the body and the mind. He who contains the experience of the material existence in the senses. If one is whole, one will be filled with light, but if one is divided, one will be filled with darkness. The indivisible, non-material soul that is beyond space and time, that holds space and time and all its division as illusory concepts in the consciousness. The birthless, unchanging experiencer that can never die. We have come from the light, from the place where the light came into being, by itself, established itself, and appeared in their image. The self-born, self-created, causeless, cause of all. And to see Him, the living one, who is yourself, in everyone. And to see the world, as made of dead matter, as an irrelevant illusion, as a temporary, ever-changing dream. Whoever has come to know the world, has discovered a dead carcass, and whoever has discovered a dead carcass, of that one, the world, is not worthy. To understand these sayings, is to understand the nature of the living God, and the meaning of existence. The body dies, and the mind stops. But he who sees himself as the living soul, and awakens from the illusion of a limited existence into the supreme unlimited state, cannot die. If you bring forth what is within you, what you have will save you. If you do not have that within you, what you do not have within you will kill you. Abstaining from the world takes away its control over you. And this becomes the death of death. When you make the two into one, you will become children of Adam. And when you say, mountain, move from here, it will move. All this is actually common Hindu philosophy, found in many of the ancient Indian books. There are many stories of ancient Hindu holy rishis that have transcended the material illusion and the cycle of reincarnation, and through that have gained the ability to bend the laws of nature and perform miracles like Christ. Another commonality is the monastic practices and restriction of sense gratification, like fasting, for example. However, it should be noted that one major difference remains, and that is the virgin birth, which the rishis do not claim. Here are a few short excerpts of the same teaching, presented in the Bhagavata Purana, an ancient Hindu book that portrays events that go back hundreds of thousands of years. The Supreme Lord said, "I shall now describe to you the different categories of reality, knowing which anyone can be released from the bond of the sleep, wake, and dream modes of material nature. I shall explain that to you, about which one speaks as the spiritual knowledge that cuts the knots of egoism in the heart and constitutes the ultimate purpose of one's self-realization. The Supreme Soul, the original person, elevated above matter, is beginningless and free from the basic qualities of nature. He constitutes the inner, self-radiant refuge of the entire creation. He maintains that very person, the greatest of the great, accepted out of his own free will, for his enjoyment, the divine subtle material energy, characterized by the three modes. By these modes, nature created the varying forms of the living entities. The living beings, seeing them, were, from the first day on in this world, illusioned by them, because these forms constitute the covering of their spiritual knowledge. Because the living entity identifies himself with the operation of material nature, he attributes the activities performed by those basic qualities to himself. thus being bound to a conditioned life. The naturally joyful, independent witness, who does not do anything, became dependent. Knowers of truth state that the body and the senses one is engaged with are subject to the operation of the basic qualities of material nature, and that the spirit soul, above all matter, is responsible for the experience of happiness and distress therewith. The Supreme Lord said, "One will realize the freedom when one, with a clean mind, serious unto me, and faithfully listening to my stories, in devotional service, manages to perform one's duties, without desiring the fruits thereof. By means of spiritual knowledge, with the vision of the absolute truth, in yoga, strongly connected in penance, detached, and firmly fixed, someone becomes absorbed in the soul. Someone devoted to me, who are under my protection, for the sake of awakening his intelligence, by my unlimited mercy, goes for the ultimate goal of his existence, enlightenment and emancipation, will in this life soon attain a steady self-awareness and be free from doubt." The yogi, who departed for that heavenly abode will, after leaving behind both the subtle and the gross body, never return. When the attention of the perfected yogi is not drawn towards yogic powers to control the material illusion, then, having no other purpose in his life, his progress towards me will be unbounded, because the power of death is lost therein. There are thousands of explanations like this in books like the Vishnu Purana, the Upanishads, and many others. There is only one religion. God made it, and people divided it. However, these things never really made it into the final version of the Roman Christianity. They have been forgotten for 2,000 years. In Islam, it is forbidden to make an image of God. That is simply because God transcends all that is experienced. So, nothing that can be seen within the senses can ever be worthy of representing his infinite, metaphysical nature. The dead finite creation is not worthy of the living creator. It is the same in Hinduism. Even though there are thousands of gods, in its original ancient teaching, they are all considered manifestations of one living God. All the Hindu gods are avatars of Vishnu. There are three main avatars. Vishnu himself, on the snake bed Ananta, ruler over all. Brahman, who is the first created. The conscious mind of God, that contains all minds, who has awakened into existence, from the nothingness that is before the creation of time itself. And Shiva, the destroyer, who is the physical avatar of Rudra. The force that purifies all physical imperfections. Only the one living God is worshipped, and everything else, animate and inanimate, is seen as a manifestation of him. and a dream, which he creates within himself.